Graduating from IIM Ahmedabad, Falguni started her career in consulting with AF Ferguson and Company, and then spent 18 years at the Kotak Mahindra Group at the helm of several businesses, and was the managing director of Kotak Mahindra Investment Bank and director at Kotak Securities, the bank's institutional equities division. Falguni is a recipient of prominent awards and accolades for the crucial role she plays in transforming India's lifestyle, retail, and consumer technology sectors. She was awarded the Woman Ahead Award at the Economic Times Startup Awards 2017. In 2019, recognizing her contribution to the Indian beauty industry, Falguni was awarded the Businesswoman of the Year at the Economic Times Awards for Corporate Excellence. She was also listed as one of Asia's power businesswomen by Forbes Asia and awarded the EY Entrepreneur of the Year award. In 2021, Forbes India featured Falguni in their list of the world's 100 most powerful women. And lastly, for the 2 consecutive years, 2021 and 2020, Fortune India ranked Falguni as one of the 50 most powerful women in business. It is an incredible honor for us to welcome you here, Falguni, and talk to you from Aspire for Her. The person who I will introduce next actually needs no introduction because she is a very special part of our Women in Entrepreneurship segment, EntrepreNaari. Navya Naveri Nanda truly needs no introduction to this community, and I will not stand between the fantastic conversation that we're all waiting to have with Falguni and Navya. But before that, just one shout out to one special person who has helped us through this journey and who has ensured that we actually get Falguni here to talk to and inspire our community, and that's Sharda Agarwal, one of our mentors. Thank you, Sharda, for being with us all the time. And thank you, Sharda, for organizing this magical afternoon for us. Over to you, Nanda. Navya, sorry. I'm truly nervous, as you can see.
No, as am I, and thank you so much, ma'am, for being here today. I won't take up more of your time. I'm going to jump right in. But before I start, I just want to say it means a lot to have you here with us. I know the EntrepreNaaris have been very, very excited to meet you, as have I. So a big thank you from all of our sides for joining us today.
And thank you very much, Navya, and also Madhura. It's an absolute honor to be amongst all of you. And this is something which is so close to my heart, and it is embedded in our name, which I will share later. So I think it's very much something that I would love to do. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Navya.
Thank you. It means a lot. But I'll jump right in. And, I've been waiting to have a conversation with you because I personally had so many questions and a lot that I wanted to ask you. And I think the first thing I really want to know from you is that we know that you've had a very long career in banking, which is, a very different industry to the one that you're in now. And you went from a very traditional working environment to becoming an entrepreneur, as we all know in this community, isn't the most conventional career path as it's looked upon today. But I think I'd like to know from what work life for you was before Nykaa, and what were some of the things that you might have learned from your traditional working environment that helped you in your journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting question. And as I think about it, what I realize is that some of the early influences have played a big role in my mind, in shaping my mindset, which has brought me to where I am today. And I think one of those early mindset was where my dad truly believed that girls are equal to boys. And in every conversation, he was always like, but she is like my son, And I think there was never a time I saw that, girls should not do this and girls should give more importance to marriage and girls should not have big ambition. And I think he was truly proud of the fact, when I used to do well and, the things like that. So I think he was a very big force in who I am today. That doesn't take away from what moms do generally. And of course, moms also contribute. But I think when a father thinks the daughter is equal to a man, I think that really makes a big difference in a daughter's mindset, I feel. I think I also have to say that that was followed with, obviously, that made me who I am, and that helped me choose a partner that probably saw that mindset and would respect that mindset. So I think in my husband also, I found someone who was a true professional. And during my early career days, when I needed to take decisions which were more like professional or, based on my career choices, I don't think he ever kind of said, oh, I should look at it any differently. So if I had to run around leaving young children for presentations in different city, I had to leave. There was a very particular, I remember very clearly one particular day where all our mates deserted on us. I used to keep a lot of help so that I always had someone to lean on, but all of them were missing. And I think both of us had to go for a presentation on a Sunday afternoon at the same time. So we ended up having to leave our young kids. I have twins who are now 30, but 31. But at that time, I left them with my young neighbors' kids who were all of, I think 10 and 11 and 12. And I left my young kids with them and went away to this presentation. And I don't think my husband stopped me. It was like, well, if your presentation is important and if that's your call, you can do it. So I think, of course, there were elders in that family around, but they were like on a Sunday afternoon, nobody wants to volunteer to look after 6-month-old babies, So I think in that sense, it was, I think many of those were the decisions which enabled me and empowered me to pursue my career in a way that has brought me to where I am today. I have to say that.
No, I think that's beautiful to hear you say that, because a lot of women often struggle to balance the different roles that they play. And I think hearing you, not just as a businesswoman, but as a mother and as a daughter, and say that you were able to successfully balance those roles very, very well, I think is inspiring to a lot of women who often doubt how they will manage their time. But I've also heard you say many times before that you grew up in a very liberal household, and you've mentioned that with the support of the men who are in your family. But how did growing up in a household like that give you a sense of independence, and how did that impact you as a professional in your journey when you were starting Nykaa?
No, so I think I have gone public many times saying that there is no glass ceiling, and it's a little, it is trivializing something, and my view of the world, and may not be true for everyone. So I don't want to say that that is the only view of the world. But my own view of the world is that very often women are too afraid to lean in, and too afraid to take on more responsibility because they feel that it'll upset the apple cart at home, and they will not be able to carry on working, plus looking after their family requirements. And I have many anecdotes, and as through my mid-career I used to share with people, and they used to really get a lot of courage out of it, and that's why I want to say some of those examples. So I think going by the same this thing logic, I think there was a very clear no I said to any friends who wanted to meet for lunch because I was supposed to be working. I also said no to my mother-in-law when she wanted me to be at home when some relatives were coming because I would be working. To the extent that finally the family started understanding where if there was a surgery that was happening in my family, and the surgery and say my parent, in that case my mother-in-law was being rolled into this thing, the doctor himself said that you must be busy, so don't worry, you go for your work, and as soon as I bring her out of the operation theater, I'll call you, so you come. So because it'll anyway take her half an hour, 45 minutes. So I think prioritizing work is very important. And I feel that very often women forget to prioritize work. And, I never put work ahead of my children, or I didn't put work ahead of maybe an ailing parent. But there are many situations in life where women must remember that if work is not a priority for them, then that shows in the results. So I think work needs to be a priority, and important enough priority if that's what you have choose to commit to.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I think there have been times as well where, you have to choose between, making some sacrifices for the sake of work. And like you rightfully said, the results won't show unless you're putting in that kind of time and dedication and passion. I think it's a collection of all these three things. And I think, you mentioning that a lot of women hesitate sometimes to go big. That's something that, when you're starting off as an entrepreneur at a smaller scale, is always a goal that we all have, that, we want to, like you, ring that bell at Bombay Stock Exchange, take our company public, really go big with what we've set out to do. But a lot of women, sometimes hesitate to do that. And, there have been times in the initial stages of my entrepreneurial journey where I was hesitant and scared to take that step as well, to scale the business. And, I think it would be nice for all of us who are in some shape or form beginning our journeys as entrepreneurs to hear from you any kind of advice that you would give, when we are thinking of taking that next step to scale, which, like you said, is a big responsibility. A lot of time, dedication, commitment goes into that. So what would your advice be to someone like me, who's looking to take that step and really scale her business?
I think women are very passionate. They are very committed. They work very hard, and they are very honest and really sincere in their commitment. I think where they lack is that they are too afraid to ask for family resources. So they kind of want to do everything within their gamut of influence, and don't want to take help from family in terms of financial resources. They don't want to even put family. They don't want to put the family silver to bet, so to speak. Like, it is so easy for men, whether their idea is great or no, they will go ahead and start building that idea. And if the business loses money, so be it. And women are too afraid for that. So they want to do a business in a way that it doesn't need too much investment. And, sometimes they are not ready to give it resources that are needed to scale the business. And once you give it resources to scale the business, then you also have to give the commitment and time to make sure that the resources are well spent. So I think everything is linked, that bigger the bet, more committed you become. And I think women should not be afraid. So our word Naika is very interesting. It means that for women in the spotlight. And that is our message to women, to say that don't be afraid to dream. You must, I think if our women are not afraid to dream, I think they will get where they need to get to. And I think for too long, women have always been afraid to dream because they feel that they will end up upsetting the apple cart at home. And I feel they don't need to feel scared of that. And I think for too long, women have seen their mothers give up on their careers for sake of the family. And today's young women, and many of our customers were millennial customers, and they were not ready for that. They were not ready to trade their aspiration and dreams for sake of balance at home. So I think with Nykaa, they really related to Nykaa as a brand, because they saw that what we were telling our customers and everybody in the ecosystem is that don't be afraid to dream. It's okay to dream. It's okay to be who you are. And I think that has to be a very big confidence that we have to pursue our dreams,
I absolutely agree with you on that. And being a millennial myself, I can tell you that that's not something that I would ever compromise on either, are the dreams and goals that I have for myself. And hearing you say that just validates the thoughts that I have about where I want to be in life one day. So thank you for saying that.
So I'm sure everybody, I think the new generation, that's why I'm proud of them, that they really want it for themselves, and no one else will want it for you. So I think you have to just dream for yourself, I feel.
Absolutely.
And this is such a beautiful line: dream for yourself and don't be afraid to dream. And that's what Falguni is saying to all of you listening in. And we see so many of you streaming in through various channels, some of you on Zoom and some of you outside. Falguni, the next question that we had for you was related to the previous one, and in terms of scale. We do realize that technology plays a very important role in scale. And we've also heard your views on the fact that, at Nykaa, technology has played a big role in ensuring that Nykaa today is where it is. We try to, and I'll just make a small announcement here, we try to also offer resources to all the entrepreneurs at Aspire for Her from time to time. And we thought that it would be wonderful to actually inaugurate a new set of technology-based resources for them today, thanks to our partners, Amazon Web Services, who are actually offering a series of dedicated services and products which are meant for entrepreneurs at Aspire for Her. So this community, Falguni, is actually called She Dares. And I think we thought that there is nobody in India, bar men or women, who exemplifies the spirit of She Dares like you. So we'd love you to just inaugurate the set of resources for She Dares under EntrepreNaari, which is being inaugurated today by Falguni Nayar. If you just take a second to do that. And the best form of inspiring the community here would be them to hear firsthand from you as to how you use technology at Nykaa to really scale up and to give it the form and shape that it has today. So
sure. I want to first and foremost say that I would like to congratulate AWS and Aspire for launching this She Dares initiative. It's a superb initiative, and it's going to be a great platform to help women pursue careers in technology as well as use technology to their advantage in their business. I think if I talk about Nykaa, I have to say that when I started the business, when people ask me, do you have a regret? And I said my only regret is that I wish I had met a tech co-founder and I had founded the company along with tech. A lot of my issues would have got solved. So when we started the company, and today I think a lot of success of Nykaa is because we are tech enabled and we are able to use technology to, this journey of Nykaa over the last 10 years has made me aware of how important technology is and how it allows you to scale so effortlessly to do very complex tasks in a very effortless manner. And today our success in size and scale and pace of growth is entirely reflection of that understanding and leveraging technology. But when we got started, my first CTO quit within 1 year. The second CTO quit by the end of the second year. The third CTO never joined. And for about a year and a half, I had no CTO and I was managing with young tech talent. So our technology was not perfect. Of course, we chose the right technology in Magento, but we realized that Magento doesn't scale. People told me it doesn't scale beyond 1,000 orders a day. Okay. And we could use Magento till about 10,000 orders a day, but it was almost like we had to do mid-air fueling to get to the new platform on a site that was already running very successfully. Right. So we've been through a lot of tech, what I may call anxieties, at least. And I think in early days, we do a sale and I think the marketing success and positioning came very easily to us. And as a result, a lot of customers would throng to our site and the site would collapse because the technology was not really, we are on AWS servers too. Right. But at that point, we probably didn't have a very smooth transitioning to higher scale, So now, of course, all those tech problems are behind us. And I think totally that our success is due to technology. And I can definitely tell each of the entrepreneurial naris in your organization, in your community, that there are 3 things they should not be afraid. I hear women too often tell me that they're afraid of technology. They should not be afraid of technology. They have no choice but to embrace technology. Secondly, they should not be afraid of finance. Very often women say, I leave finance to someone else. As a successful entrepreneur, you cannot leave finance to anyone else. Please understand every aspect of finance as well as every aspect of your legal agreements. And last and foremost, women are very, very shy about negotiation. They almost feel bad about both networking and negotiation. And these are very important skills to succeed. Through my mid-career, I realized that negotiation is I was always good at negotiation, but I realized that it was so important, both networking. I was a little bit shy to network. I used to feel that how can you drive a business agenda in a social setting? Like I meet Navya over coffee at someone's house and she tries to tell me that, can you look at my brand? It's not nice. I used to think it's not nice to do that. But, that's not how the male world works. So why should we be shy of networking? Why should we be shy of negotiating? And I think these are all very important skills and many of these issues remain in women's mind that they can't do it. So I think I want women to break the barriers on all these.
This is pure gold. I think, everybody listening in will completely agree with that. And these 3 things, I can assure you, Falguni, that they will become part of our folklore, part of Aspire for Her, and we will ensure that we keep revisiting this and keep getting inspired by what you said to us today. This is actually a momentous opportunity for us to listen to Falguni herself talk about these three things which she feels is really, really setting back entrepreneurs today. This is fantastic. We're getting a lot of questions already, but Navya, I'm going to hand back to you so that you move on with the rest of the discussion.
I think it's really great to hear you say that, women should not shy away from networking. I think that's very true. I see a lot of my friends who are young women who started businesses feel shy sometimes to talk about their work. And I think I agree with you when I say that women should take more pride in the work that they do and the efforts that they put in to build the kind of businesses that we're seeing built today. And I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with appreciating yourself for the hard work and time that goes in, because I think only us as individuals know the amount of dedication and time that goes into the work that we put in. And I think appreciating ourselves for that is no harm in doing that. So I thank you for saying that. But another thing that, we often hear about when looking at women who are in business is we often get this stereotype of, how is it being a woman in the workplace? And whenever somebody asks me that question, I actually don't have an answer to that, because I say this very often that I don't think I ever grew up thinking that my gender would stop me from doing anything. And I, similar to you, grew up in a household where no one in my family ever, told me that I couldn't do something because I was a woman. So I actually never have an answer to that question, because I really grew up thinking that there's nothing that I can't do. But I know that even today, society looks at the beauty and lifestyle industry as, female dominated industries or girly domains, because, they look at these two industries and markets as something that, is female oriented or girly. And I mean, I'm curious to know if that's something that you've heard in your experience, and whether those kind of comments have been made to you before. And if so, how did you deal with that? And what is your attitude towards kind of thoughts that, people still have today about women in the workplace?
So there are many things within what you say. And I think, I think what I'm really proud of is when, so firstly, I'll tell you a couple of things. One is that I personally feel I worked in corporate India, and I feel whether it was my bosses, whether it was my employees, whether it was my colleagues, they never differentiated towards women. I don't think men in India are there to push down women. I think we are all fortunate to work in a more organized setup where, and I think I've seen also in even middle class families, or even every family, I think women in India carry a lot of weight, what they say within the family carries a lot of weight. There is a lot of respect for women. So I personally feel that I don't think that way there are barriers to women. And at least in a system I worked, I don't think, I mean, I really don't think people looked at me as a woman, and hence I can only work on certain topics, So I got some of the, like investment banking is a clear male bastion, or today, technology is a clear male bastion. Like somebody else was saying earlier that you're one of the few, tech company CEOs, So I think, I really think that I don't think men bring us down, please. I think the men are there to support us. I think we just have to believe that we can do it. And I think we just have to believe that it doesn't matter what the topic is. See, to be honest, girly topic is okay. Like, I'm not interested in cricket, and I could not have built Dream 11 because I don't understand cricket and it doesn't motivate me. Having said that, I haven't been able to build a beauty business because I like makeup or I like dressing up. I've been able to build it with a lot of detail-oriented execution on unit economics, on financials, and many other aspects of business operations of the business, which are not so women-centric. So I think I just generally feel that there was, at one point, there was a lot of media also, media focus on, you are a woman, and like, people would ask me questions on the board that how do women on the board contribute? I don't think women on a board contribute differently than men on the board, so it's not like that. People contribute from their area of expertise. If someone is steel sector expert, they'll contribute on steel mining, whereas I'm a finance expert, so I'll contribute on a finance. And I think historically, women have not gone into certain career. I could have well gone into technology, but I didn't, so there have been historical reasons because of which we didn't do it. Like I think I could have well done science, but I pursued commerce. Or my daughter could have well done she of course studied math, but she could have well been, I used to tell her go to MIT, but she chose to go to a liberal arts school. So I think there are years of baggage because of which we do what we do, but that doesn't constrain us. I think with what I did, I think everybody knows that one thing I've proved is that neither age nor gender nor education is any bar to doing what you want. So I think as far as your passion and you apply yourself and learn from others, I could not have even chosen the right technology for my business if I didn't talk to anyone. So in my early days, I used to have so many conversations every week. I would meet 15, 20 people, and just anybody, like, someone I knew through them, somebody else, I would keep meeting them and ask them a lot of questions to learn in the areas where I didn't know something. So being extrovert, being outgoing, trying to learn from others is all very important. There was a stage in my business, I was so stuck on just looking at how my business was doing, and I was constantly just trying to improve conversions. And I think at that point, my husband told me that, what are you doing? Nobody knows about your business. Please go and talk to some people about your business. So then I went and met my ex-boss. I went and met whoever I knew. And those 10, 15, 20 people I told about my business, then when I wanted to raise money, somebody went back to check with them saying, do you know anything about this? So because it met me, they said, yeah, it seems like a good business. So I think you don't know what will help you. So I think all I'm saying is that if you want to build a business, you must be an extrovert. You must talk about your business. You must leverage others to learn from them, because we can't do it alone.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think taking and making the most of every opportunity that you get is something that I've learned in the last 2 years of running a business. I think it makes a world of a difference, I think, to the work that you're doing, and also, like you said, so that people know who you are and the work that you do. But I think, obviously we have such a large community of entrepreneurs who are here with us today, and we have slowly a lot of women who are a part of the workplace today and working in the economy, starting businesses. But we still don't see many professional women at that point being looked upon as role models. Today we have you, of course, out there, and we don't see a lot of maybe younger women out there who are looked upon as professional role models in the media or internationally. And I mean, that's something that I've kind of taken upon as a task, is to not just represent women but represent India on an international level. And you've done that very, very successfully, and it makes all of us proud. But I think for all the women today who are still working, what would your advice be to them, to really, really be those role models for other women in India who actually do seek a lot of inspiration from them?
I think, in early days, it's small things. For example, I think in early days, I needed to travel, and I didn't think it was unsafe to go to any city. So of course, I used to be quite scared, to be honest, and to admit, like, I will go into a hotel and I'll be like praying the whole night, like, I'll be just saying some Gayatri mantras because I was generally scared. So I think you need to strengthen your mind. And once you start traveling too often, because I was in consulting and I used to travel a lot, I used to travel like 20 days a month. And, I used to, then no one's going to drop you to the airport and pick you up just because it's an early flight. So, you have to be okay to not be mollycoddle like that, and you have to go for your work commitment in a way that you need to commit yourself. If it needs, like if someone is in certain sourcing and they need to go to certain market, so I think you have to have the faith, and you have to keep you have to keep your fingers crossed that nothing untowardly happens to you and nothing wrong happens. But otherwise, with a lot of fear, you don't experience anything. I feel like, I went on student exchange program into other people's homes, I went on a student exchange program to Kashmir when I was young. And I just keep saying that my parents allowed me to go, and I'm so thankful for them, because it was all those experiences which taught me not to be scared, And you are scared, like when you're traveling, like on a godforsaken place where you don't know anyone. Like, I used to keep my fingers crossed, keep doing Gayatri Mantra, but like I made myself brave like that. So I think a lot of our fears are in our mind. We have to deal with them. Because women have to, I mean, like, we have to make ourselves strong.
I agree. And I think strengthening our minds and also feeling more confident about our abilities will help us get there. I know we have a couple of questions from our community members, but there was actually something that I kind of thought of while talking to you that I really wanted to ask. It's more of a personal question, but I mean, you as founder of Nykaa and at the head of Nykaa, you make women feel beautiful every single day. And I think that's, something that your brand and you as an individual have successfully been able to do. But I mean, I'd love to know from you what your definition of beauty is and what beauty really means to you.
So when I started Nykaa, I looked at the definition of beauty and I said, it cannot be a traditional definition of beauty. Like, I used to never wear lipstick, and every time, I go on TV, my aunt will call me and everybody will call me, you should have put some lipstick. So today I put some lipstick and I'm not very happy about that. So I think the point is that definition of beauty has to be what it is in your mind. And for some people, it's using a great perfume or bathing in a great shower gel, or for some people, it is looking after their hair very well. And for some people, it is putting makeup, and for someone else, it is using great skincare, or someone else, it is being very healthy and pursuing wellness in a way that their wellness shows on their skin and on their hair, in their body and everything. So I feel that I think the definition of beauty is very wide, and we understood that at Nykaa, and we did not go for a narrow definition of beauty. And our success comes from that wide definition of beauty compared to a narrow definition of beauty that the world had, where for them beauty was using cosmetics, or using just lipstick, and for us it's not like that. We really pursued a very wide definition of beauty, and we made all of it available. And this is not today. Like on day one, we conceptualize, we call it our mega menu. So our mega menu was considered with all of these offerings from day one. Until today, we are just trying to perfect the art of all of that. Selling perfume online is not easy because you can't smell it. So we are trying to perfect the art of trying to do all of this online. And of course, in physical store, we are doing that, but our physical stores cannot reach as many customers as our online stores reach.
I think that's a great answer, and thank you for answering that. That was more of a selfish personal question that I've been waiting to ask you. But now I know we have a lot of community members who have a lot of questions for you. So I'm going to ask you some of those on behalf of them. So we have a question from Anita Gulani, who is an EntrepreNaari in our community. And she wants to know that, we are in an era of startups where we've seen a boom in a lot of young startups coming up, and she wants to know what Nykaa is doing to promote or handhold them, either on your platform or as a capacity through your company.
Yeah, so I think, Anita, I think what Nykaa does is that we facilitate discovery very well. So we go out of our way to facilitate what we call as hidden gems on our fashion platform, or new brands that you'd love on our beauty platform. And we give a lot of opportunity to smaller platforms to get discovered, smaller brands to get discovered. So I think that is clearly something that we do. I don't think Nykaa can do everything. So what happens is that we can allow for discovery. After that, if some consumers buy it and they consume it, and then when they start writing ratings and review, that's the another big area of trust that consumers get from platforms like us. So our ratings and reviews, and I don't know, it's a very technical answer, but we actually don't allow for what do you call it, rigging the ratings and review. Nobody can rig the ratings and review on our platform. And to encourage that, we have something called certified buyer rating, which means that if the buyer has bought the product on our platform and then is giving the rating, then it's considered a certified buyer rating. Now, sometimes somebody may not buy on our platform. Someone else may have bought elsewhere and give ratings. So we don't disallow that, but we identify a certified buyer rating. And also, we can, if we see there is some rigging of the ratings, we don't allow that. So more we keep our platform clean, and we don't allow any basically fake products to list on our platform. It's a curated platform with high quality products. So more we keep our platform clean and more consumers trust our platform is available to all our brands to do more. And I think that is the way we definitely help everyone. I think I've also been someone who has not, I want an equal opportunity for women rather than want a special status for women. Yes, maybe, like in India, like maybe certain tribes were, castes and tribes were ignored for a long time and they were given a special status. And I personally feel that women should not be relegated to that. And I think as far as women are given equal opportunity and more from within their family rather than outside in the community, because I think finally family has a bigger influence on women than the community. So I think I would want everyone to make sure that their family treats them right and do not allow yourself to be treated wrong within your family. And I think that will solve a lot of things.
Thank you for that. That actually makes a lot of sense. And hearing you say that women should be given equal opportunities, something that I've always said is that when you look at corporates trying to increase the gender index within their organizations, often they hire women just to tick that box that we have a certain number of women in our organization. And I think that corporates need to understand that don't just hire us because we're a statistic, and don't just hire us because you're checking off a box on the list, but hire us because we genuinely are capable of doing the work that you're hiring us for. And I think that that's something we need to remember as well. But we have Seema Shende, who's actually an ex-team member of yours from our community as well, who's got a question for you, which is that in hindsight, are there one or two things that you feel you could have done differently, or mistakes that you feel you could have avoided?
So I think the first big learning was that technology is very important and I should have had a better solution on my tech partner in the beginning. That was phase one. If I were to do it differently, I would do that, and it would have shaved off a couple of years of our scale up. Like we could have done it a little bit faster. The second thing was that I also initially used to not believe in myself, and as a result, I was not ready for the growth. And we realized that in the first 1 year, every time marketing scaled up, we were not ready with the supply chain, or when something else scaled up, we were not ready with the headcount. So I think after a couple of 1.5 years of experience with that e-commerce really allows you a huge size and scale, and many of today's businesses can get to huge size and scale because of one integrated world. Somebody was asking questions about marketing. So digital marketing, being able to digitally connect and stay in touch with your customer, and an ability to influence them on a regular basis to make them your customer. These are all, we are seeing it in the first generation. I don't think customer connect was this great even 10 years before. So I think these are very special times. It is allowing businesses that understand and leverage this to scale very fast. And these businesses must believe in their ability to grow, and they must invest ahead of the curve. So I think that's been one big lesson for me. And that, don't underestimate your growth, and please invest ahead of the growth. And I think there was also a question about, was it challenging to leave a corporate job? And I think it comes from, again, mindsets. When I had a corner office at Kotak, I had a lot of ESOP that I gave up when I left it. But to be honest, I never looked back on those. I mean, a lot of people used to ask me that, will you get the same car that you had at Kotak? I didn't care for it, honestly. And I was very particular that my startup should work from a very tiny office, because then only the startup culture comes, and you need to be frugal as a startup. So even though my home was great, my weekend house was great, I used to work in an office which was only 900 square feet. And as my daughter would call it, there were mushrooms growing in the bathroom. So, we did that for 2.5 years, so that we had the right corporate culture, that it was, we needed to succeed we needed to scale, and we needed to succeed to make it. And I think that is very important. Frugality is very important. I've read a lot about the frugality that companies like even Walmart pursue, or even Amazon pursues. And I think it's a culture thing. And if you don't focus on frugality, before you're spending far more than what your business is contributing. So I think keeping the two connected is also very important.
Absolutely, and can definitely relate to working in a small space. We also work out of a very tiny room at my startup, and I think that actually builds the entire environment and makes you really feel like you said, the startup culture. But you've also talked a lot about Nykaa being a very transparent brand, being very authentic, being very real. And another question we have from Sohani Trivedi, Shivika Bhantia, is how do you build trust with your buyer?
So, I think it's a very, very interesting question. And it was a big thing on my mind because I came from financial industry where trust is everything. And we used to say that there's no gray, there is black or white, and there's really no gray. And I think financial businesses have to be very high on corporate governance to get that trust. But, one of the symbol of trust used to be a banyan tree, and a banyan tree is usually 100 years old or more. So I used to wonder, how am I going to get trust in a new company that is not even 2 or 3 years old? And finally, it boiled down to the simple thing about values. How if we as individuals have values and how the whole world can see it, the same values as a company also people are able to see it. So our early conversation at Nykaa used to be that if we say up to 30% off, up to 50% off, at least 30 or 50% of the SKUs should be at that percentage off. You can't say that up to 50% off, then bring them to the site, and then only 10% of SKUs are off. So we were very particular about what we say and what we do. And I think that honesty in what we say and what we do, I think customers started seeing it very easy, very early on. We were also very particular about following. We said we were very ambitious for growth, but we used to say be bold, but be good. And what be good meant that don't cut any corners. Compliance is very paramount. So what that meant was that if some brand, if we became aware that certain brand was not registered in the country, because in India, all the beauty products need to be registered under FDA. So if certain brand was not registered in the country, it could not come through what is called as a official channel. People used to still sell it online because those were early days of e-commerce and nobody was policing it, But Nykaa chose to not do it. So if we realize that certain brands was not officially sold in the country, we would not make it available. And even if those brands were like Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret and had a lot of consumer pull, we gave up on it. So I think consumers started understanding that. And within 2.5 years, they started telling us that we know that Nykaa sells only genuine products. So we got trust very quickly. And as a young company, young brand, we started hearing, that they really trusted Nykaa. So I think it was very unique and it came from having the right value system.
I think that's really important, because I think building trust with your consumer as a business is by far the most important thing. So I think there is a lot to learn from you and from Nykaa of how you have successfully done that. So last two questions. The first one is from Hemant, which is, where do you see Nykaa in the next 5 years?
No, so I think Nykaa has a very unique opportunity to be a meaningful player in the lifestyle category in the country as a multi-brand retailer. We started with beauty, now we are in fashion. We have ambition to be in wellness in a bigger way, because I think wellness is a very important category for the future. Like you're in that, so Navya. So I think wellness is very important, and also secondly, we also are making sure that. We are building brands. I am a big admirer of brands. I think brands keep value longer term. And I think building brand is a marathon. It's not a short-term sprint. A lot of people launch a brand successfully and they feel that, when people tell me that you can have 30 brands and all, I don't think Nykaa is, of course, trying to build a lot of brands because we are a large platform. But I think every brand needs a lot of passion and commitment, the way bringing up a child needs. So I equate building a brand to almost like having a child, and you have to commit yourself so much that, of course, there are people who can have even 5 kids. But I think what I mean is it's a lot of commitment. So I think every brands are very valuable, but one has to commit a lot. And I would love to build and create brands that live for a long time. So I think these are the aspirations for Nykaa.
I think we're all waiting to see the different brands that come out of Nykaa and have an opportunity to use them and be a part of them. And the last question that I have from our community is from Satish, and he wants to know if you have any leadership secrets on managing large teams.
Yeah, a couple of them. So one is for retail business, I say retail is about detail. So I'm all over into minutest detail. And typically in a presentation, if I don't understand a word, also I will ask the question. So I think it's pretty much very detail oriented. Like I care, and I care to understand everything, and I will understand everything about the business. So I always say retail is about detail. The second big thing is I'm very open to listening. And while I may have opinions, and I have a very clear opinions on how I want to build a business or a brand, but I'm still very, very open to listening. And because our brand was had a lot of millennials working for us, and it was also a brand that related millennials really embraced it. So I would not have been successful if I didn't listen to the millennials. They were very different than our generation was. And my early thing used to be that to correct the spelling mistake in a social media post, and they would tell me, how does it matter? And I learned very quickly that, it doesn't really matter. And I think, I mean, so basically be open to listening, and be open and be truly open. I think if you are truly open, then only you can be meaningful contributor to the new world, because I think the world is very different than sometimes where we are, so I think that these are some of the very important lessons. And yeah, truly care for your people. And you should, like, it should, I mean, we always say that we have to make workplace very fun, and the culture at work has to be non-toxic, and there cannot be a toxic culture, and we don't tolerate a toxic culture. And what that means is that you just can't everyone can only talk for a cause. They can't just make comments for sake of commenting, so that is very important. Otherwise, it's very easy to say that you should do it like this, can you do it like this, so I think we are very particular that don't say what you can't do, so I think if you are a boss that doesn't say that, oh, you should do this, but like if I tell you to be very efficient on marketing, I should be able to be efficient if I'm handling that account, so don't expect from others what you can't do, so I think many of these things are very important to make it a good work culture.
I think that's great. And I mean, I really wish we all have a boss like you who has all of these different skills and talents and abilities as a leader. But thank you so much for answering all of our questions from our community members. And thank you for answering my questions and for being here today with us. It really means a lot, that you took out the time to do this. So thank you so much. We really are very, very grateful to you for doing this.
No, it's been my pleasure to talk to all of you, and it's been great. Thank you. Thank you, Navya. Thank you, Madhura, and everybody who's been here.
I think the chat boxes are completely exploding with lots more questions for you. But we know that, you have a hard stop, Falguni, at 5 p.m. So this has been such a fascinating conversation for all of us at various stages of life. I also started my startup when I was 50 years old. I gave it to myself as my 50th birthday present. So I feel so incredibly inspired to see you, Falguni, and to see, how Nykaa is really not just a brand for us. It is like truly, a path breaker. It's truly something that it lights a spark and ignites that passion in all of us. Falguni talked about so many things, and I'm sure that our community will take that away in many different ways. So this is just a small attempt to say thank you to everybody who really made this happen. First of all, Falguni, for making time for this. We know how busy you are. Falguni talked about technology, she talked about networking, she talked about finance, she talked about her whole vulnerability. And I think the authentic self that she brought to this conversation was absolutely unparalleled to anything else that we have seen. We loved the bit about the Gayatri Mantra, Falguni, the fact that, you are still wanting to sort of, convince yourself that there's nothing to be afraid of. And the fact that you took the time to reach out to so many people when you were starting off. I mean, if Nykaa had to do this, for all our community members, for everyone who's listening in, if she had to do this, then I think it's true of all of us. It's something that it's a path that all of us can follow without any fear, without any second thoughts. And the team building secrets, I think last of all, there were so many interesting things that came out of that, Falguni. So thank you for that. We'd love to thank everyone who came in and listened. The entire Aspire for Her team did a fantastic job trying to ensure that, all the timelines were met. So thank you, Deepika, Ruchita, Anuradha, and the entire team. Thank you, Sharda, once again for ensuring that we have this, and thank you to our partners Zone and Amazon Web Services for bringing so many new resources to us every day. So thanks a lot to everyone. Falguni, thanks a lot. We promised that we would finish this right on dot, and we've actually finished a little early. But guys, this is not the last time that we're getting Falguni. I'm sure that we will get her on the Aspire for Her platform, later to spend more time with her and to get inspired by her and to get motivated by her journey and her insights. So thanks a lot. Thank you, Sharbari. Thank you to the entire Naika team for making this such a wonderful occasion for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll close the meeting now. And thank you so much once again.